I'd say that the Happy Ghast is definitely the most useful mob Mojang has ever added to Minecraft, and I've been using it a ton recently in pretty much every single one of my builds. But it does have two drawbacks that are, of course, completely fair for balancing reasons, but are still kind of annoying to deal with. First, they take forever to grow, with having to hydrate them and then waiting for them to become adults. And second, they are extremely slow. Come on, let's go. Move! This isn't really a problem when using them just for building, but it does make transporting them to other locations very annoying. Of course, I mean, I could just grow them at the location that I'm trying to transport them to, but that's still gonna take forever. It's like 30 minutes every time I need one. So today, I will be eliminating both of these problems by building a massive ghast hydration facility, capable of hydrating an entire shulker box worth of dried ghasts. That's 1,728 happy ghasts, all hydrated at once. This might set my PC on fire, but that's a price I'm completely willing to pay. Not only will this facility grow happy ghasts, but it will also serve as a distribution hub connected to the nether that I can then use in the future to send ghasts all across the world whenever I need them, since a happy ghast moving at normal speed in the nether is technically moving at this speed in the overworld. So with that, let's build an overkill mega build that I will likely only use once and then abandon forever. Alright, let's go. Okay, since this build is going to be so big, I made sure when designing it to use blocks that I wouldn't struggle too hard with obtaining in survival. So at the top of the list, I need 54,000 gray concrete and 42,000 white concrete. So I farmed these up AFK in the end while editing my last video and placed them in storage beforehand so they'd be ready to go. Which leads us to the next item on the list, which is a ton of andesite. Adding up all the different type of andesite blocks I'm going to use, I need a combined total of 34 shulker boxes of the stuff raw. There are actually some farms that I could build to not only AFK farm andesite, but also diorite and granite. But they require my piglin bartering farm for quartz, since that's the ingredient needed to craft them. And quartz are farmed pretty slowly here, and I really don't want to waste them on something that I can just mine manually. So I went out exploring to try and find a cave with a lot of andesite and diorite in it, since I can craft the diorite into andesite with cobblestone. And I ended up finding this huge cavern about 1 kilometer east of my base, with a ton of both of these things in it. So I set up a few beacons and got to work mining. And about an hour and a half later, I had all the material I would need. Very nice. Okay, let's take all this stuff back to base. I'll turn the diorite into andesite and then craft up all the different andesite blocks I need. Okay, there we go. Andesite is complete. I do need a place to store this stuff though, because this is only a fraction of everything needed for the facility, so I need to make sure things are organized. So I'll grab a CLM kit, and we can quickly set up a staging area to organize everything for the build. Originally, the plan was to build this facility right across from the ultimate resin factory, since both of these builds are meant to be a part of Project Upgrade, but I plan to build a massive tree just in front of the gas facility, and a massive tree in the middle of the ocean doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, unless I want to build a custom island along with it, which I don't. So I'm thinking just east of the resin factory here might be a better location. It's not too far from the factory, and I have land just north of it where I can build a tree. So I quickly set up the cube loader machine, set up another roof portal so I could easily get to and from home base, and grab the andesite and load it up. And I'll bring over the concrete as well. All right, boom. Next, I need 12 shulker boxes of sea lanterns. And I of course have my guardian farm for this, but ever since I first built it, I've been having this issue where the box loaders will just stop working for some reason and won't replace a full shulker box with an empty one. So before I ran the farm for the lanterns, I decided to replace the loaders with a new special kind of mixed box loader that will load up the perfect ratio of prismarine shards and crystals so that each box makes exactly 3 stacks of sea lanterns. I know. Very fancy. So I quickly replaced the old loaders with these new ones and then got busy running the farm. And after a single night of AFKing, this is our haul. Yeah, this should definitely be enough. I swear to God if it's not. I took the materials back to base, crafted them all up into sea lanterns, and just like that, sea lanterns were complete. Next is 6 shulker boxes of calcite. So I guess I just need to go find more geodes to mine this stuff out. Wait a minute, I just remembered something. Right here, I think calcite spawns in massive chunks in mountains like this. Unless this is diorite? I honestly cannot remember. Let's go check it out. Oh my God, yes, it is calcite. Oh, this is gonna make my life so much easier. Let's mine all this out. Well, that didn't quite fill up my 6 shulker boxes, so we'll have to find more. There were no other mountain biomes nearby, so I pulled up a biome finder website to find the next nearest mountain biome, and the next nearest one was 10,000 blocks away. So I headed over through the nether, and hopefully this place will have enough calcite for the rest of the project. Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. Yeah, this definitely should be enough. Let's mine all this up. With the calcite all collected, I took it back to the build site, and now there's just 2 more things that I need a lot of. Coal blocks and prismarine bricks. I'm not sure if I have enough coal though. Yeah, I don't have a lot in storage. Let's check the wither skeleton farm. Oh yeah, I do not think I have enough. I do have a lot of coal ore though that's just been slowly building up here since the start of the series. So I think I can just build this up and then mine it down to cover the rest. I definitely need to build a new wither skeleton farm though. I might do that soon. Okay, there we go though. That's all the coal blocks. And now for prismarine bricks, I can easily just craft this up from the shards in my storage. And that's all the single items that I need in bulk. But kind of like with the andesite, I have a bunch of different deep slate, tuff, and quartz blocks that I need to craft. So for deep slate, I grabbed what I had in storage, but then had to head over to my big quarry to dig out the rest. While I was down there, I was also able to get all the tuff I would need, which just leaves me with quartz. And I should have had a little more foresight like I did with the concrete and AFK'd my gold farm so that I would have enough material in storage, but I didn't. And now to get all the items I need, I'd have to AFK like 20 hours. And I really don't feel like wasting that much time. But I think I have a solution. At some point, I want to build like the ultimate villager trading hub just to have access to every possible villager trade in the game. And I think I want to build it right here in this area. So I figure I can start with that with a ton of stonemason villagers that I can trade quartz with. Luckily, there's a small pit that a handful of villagers have been imprisoned in, living in for the last 20 Minecraft years. So I pulled them out and trapped them all in even smaller rooms to be able to trade with me. Then it was just a matter of leveling them all up to max rank and slowly but surely trading for all the quartz I would need. While waiting for restocks, I took some time to build up a bit more of the retaining wall for the future city in this area, and trading here also ended up cutting into my real life bedtime, so I was able to supplement the final quartz collecting with an AFK session from the gold farm. And the next morning, I finally had everything. So let's gather everything up and organize it all. And I've run into a little bit of a problem. I literally thought about this when designing the cube loader machine too, and that is, what if I run out of room? And I never thought I would, but looking at the material count, this build is 445,000 items. Okay, didn't realize that. So to quickly solve this little problem, I created 2 extra variants of the CLM, the original one being the small version, and then I made a medium version and a large version. Medium's just 2 times as big and the large is just 3 times as big. Then I quickly extended this build to the large one, so I wouldn't have to worry about running out of space. Okay, now I have enough room for everything. And I've pretty much gotten everything that I don't already have in storage collected. So now all that's left to do is to grab everything else on the list, which basically just comes down to all the random detailing blocks and redstone components. Oh, okay, finally. That's the almost 500,000 items needed to build this huge facility. But before we can start, I need to delete this little mushroom island here. Sorry guys, I just hate you. Okay, that is the island destroyed. Let's get rid of these beacons really quick. All right, now we can begin the building process. So for the layout of this facility, I want to build like a huge center atrium here and then have 3 hangar bays kind of extending off in each direction. And then the entrance at the front by the cubulator machine here. So I'll begin by setting up some of those beacon pylons like the ones we have back at home. But these are going to be orange to match the theme of Ultimate Manufacturing, which is the faction that's responsible for all the factories in my world. And I should have put some of their banners on the resin factory too. I just completely forgot. Okay, now with those set up, I can run around fast, which is good, because next I'll go ahead and set up the floor for the entire place. I want to build out like this cool little floor pattern with white concrete powder and some other white blocks. So first, I'll just start with a base layer of stone underneath the water that the white concrete powder can sit on top of. Just kind of have to wrap this around the base of the building. Then I filled out the rest of the framing for the floor, and it looks a bit weird with all these outlines, but these are where I'm going to build like big support pillars that hold up the entire building. And then in the center is where we'll build the Ghast hydration array. After those outlines, I filled everything up with all the white blocks, leaving out the concrete powder because I gotta remove all this water. And with all the water gone, I filled out the final touches with the white concrete powder. And it's looking pretty good so far. Look at this, I just found this new mod called Ortho Camera. So if I press this button on my keyboard, I can see the entire rendered area from like this crazy aerial view. So I can like take a glance at my progress whenever I want. And I can like zoom in and out and stuff. But anyway, I think I'm ready to build the next part, which is just gonna be the walls of the building that kind of angle up into the center. But before we start, I meant to grab a happy gas to put here in case I need it, but I totally forgot to grab it. But I think there's one over by the resin factory. Let's go see. Ah, there he is. Come here, boy. Let's go. I don't really know if I'm gonna need this thing, but I might as well grab it just in case. Oh my god, this is gonna be a painful trip back. This is exactly why I'm building this entire thing. This is painfully slow. Okay, got him. 10 years later. Okay, I think I'm ready to go now. Let's get building. All right, done with the main building. That took a very long time. But I mean, look at the size of this place. Holy crap, we definitely have enough room here. I mean, at least I think I do. But the next step is to build all the mechanisms to make this facility function. So basically, to hydrate the gas themselves, I'm gonna build a big array of 1 shulker box worth of dispensers that when I click a button, all activate at once, dispense water, and then can be deactivated when all the gas are hydrated. So to build this out, basically, I'm gonna need a ton of white concrete, a ton of repeaters, a bunch of redstone torches, and then of course, the dispensers. And basically how this thing will work is I'll have a series of repeaters and concrete like this, a redstone torch on top, a block being powered by the torch, and then the dispenser facing up like this. And then by powering this repeater, it turns this off, and then unpowering it, turns it back on. And it's just a huge row of these kind of stretching all across. So let's get started. This is gonna take a while to build. Okay, that's the array built out. That's a lot of dispensers. Now to test it, first I need to wire it to a single button. So I'll build that up from right here. There we go. And I'm gonna build out a larger platform up here. It's just floating in the air weirdly like this so I can test it. And now by simply pushing this button, it should send a pulse. There we go. I think it worked, but I won't know for sure until I put water buckets in these dispensers. I need a lot of buckets. So I went back to base, grabbed 4 shulker boxes of empty buckets, which should be all I need, filled them all up with water, and then tediously loaded them all into every single one of those dispensers. Okay, that's all the buckets. Let's see if this thing works. Well, kinda works. Oh, this may be a contributor to the problem. Aha! This makes sense. Okay, let's push it one more time to retract all the water. And connect here. Let's see if there's any more missing redstone anywhere. Okay, now we should be good. Let's give it one more try. Come on! Haha, yes. Okay, hold on. Let's check everything. Just gotta make sure there's not a single missing dispenser. Well, I think I got all of them. And this is how we will hydrate every single ghast at once. But the mechanism's not done yet. I want to build out like this big ring of redstone lamps so that when I activate the mechanism and all the water's in place, it will kind of like light up spinning in a circle to kind of indicate that the ghast hydration is in progress. Luckily, this is really easy to build. Let me just grab my lamps, some observers, a little bit of redstone. I'll have a big ring attached to the actual mechanism here and then a smaller one right here on the ceiling, which is why I left it open like that. So let's do the one on the ceiling first to get the signal up there. I didn't want to cut through the main building. So I started a little path down here and I just gotta build out an underground little path like this. And then I bring the redstone all the way up to the top here and build out the light in a circle. Okay, this should work. Basically, when I push the button down there, it'll turn on the array like we saw, but it'll also send a signal here, flip on this light, push this piston into this observer, which sends a signal all the way around in a circle, pings the observers below, which pings the lamps. And it should make like a nice little glowing circle. Let's see. Boop. I don't think it's working. There's a problem. I think I'm missing redstone somewhere. I think the problem, yeah, it's here. This redstone line is too long. Ran out of juice. There we go. Now it's working. Let's turn it off. Nice, okay. And now I just got to do that same concept, but down here, and it's going to kind of be integrated with the decoration, so I'll build a little bit of it out. But I just want to finish the mechanism first, make sure everything works. So let's just do basically the same thing one more time. Okay, it looks a bit weird, but it's gonna make a lot of sense when I build out the rest of the decoration, and it looks good when it's all built up. But it essentially works the same way. So let's give it a test. We should be good. All the water comes on, okay. That light comes on. Boom. And the light pulse travels around in a circle. And the way this one works, actually, it's a little bit different than the one at the top, is there's a looping signal right here that kind of sends out a new light pulse from the center. And then this one travels all the way around. And then the signal arrives here and it terminates back at the starting point, replaced by a new one. Now, with the hydration mechanism all functional, next up we have the docks. There's going to be 3 hangar bays full of them on each side here. So basically, all I have to do is build up a ton of essentially these things here where this happy guest is sitting. Pretty simple mechanism, just flips the trapdoors open and closed to hold the happy guest in place so it can be taken out whenever I need it. So I'll start by building out just one of them because these are slightly different than the ones in the CLM. Okay, boom, first one built up. Now it works mostly like the normal one over there, but I'll show you where it's different. Basically, we just slot the ghast in normally, and then when we close it, it's locked in, and then when we open it, that slime block and piston launches us outward, which saves us a grand total of 3 seconds. That's gonna add up. I'm adding years to my life with this simple change. And because of the delay in the piston, it doesn't launch me out when I get stuck in, so the trapdoors will flip up before the piston gets pushed so I don't get launched out when I'm trying to go in. Nice. With that genius innovation added to the docks, the next step was to get back to grinding and build out hundreds of them. Alright, the docks are completed, or at least the overworld side docks are. Like I mentioned in the intro, I plan to use the nether to distribute the happy ghasts all across the world, but the nether isn't exactly the easiest place to navigate with this mob, but that's gonna change. Back when I laid out my ultimate plan for this world, I talked about how I plan to build a massive octagonal wall, thousands of blocks long, that everything in my world would be built inside of. In the overworld, the space inside of these walls is huge, but in the nether, that space is 8 times smaller. In fact, it's so much smaller that I can easily see the entire space inside the vanilla 32 chunk render distance. And seeing this gave me a brilliant idea. What if I take the same octagon idea from the overworld and do it in the nether, scaled down of course, but still matching the relative size of the overworld, and instead of building a big wall, I destroy the entire nether roof and flatten all the terrain inside the octagon. Sounds easy, right? There's machines that can automatically break bedrock, and then of course I can build world eaters to take care of the normal blocks, so this should definitely be possible. But anyway, by doing that, transporting happy ghasts around the nether would be super easy. So that's my end game plan for this. But for now, I'm just gonna build portals that connect to the overworld facility. But all my portals from now on need to be at Y level 30, which is where the lava level is for the nether. And for this big nether flattening idea, I only want to go down to this level instead of going all the way to bedrock. 1, to avoid having to deal with the headache of removing thousands of square blocks of lava, and 2, because I want to rebuild the nether biomes all on a single layer, like how biomes are in the overworld, and leaving the lava lakes intact will make that a whole lot easier. So anyway, I connected 3 large portals to the facility and dug out a big space to give myself some room to fly around. Alright, I think this looks good. Now let's head back to the facility, because with those portals done, the entire building is technically fully operational. All that's left to do now is to just fully detail the entire facility. So let's start with the hangars. I wanted to try and cover a lot of the visual mess that the ghast docks create on the inside, so I sectioned off each row with some quartz stairs and some blackstone, and then lined the ceiling with some gray concrete and some sea lanterns. For the outside, I kept the same angled architecture that we already have built up on like the center of the building, and then at the end of the hangar, I built out around the nether portal to make it look like it was more a part of the building and not just a floating portal in the air. Then finally at the roof here, I got some use out of the new shelf block with these little alternating details at the top. And there we go, that is the first hangar done. Looks good. Now I just gotta build 2 more just like this. To try and make this process a bit easier, I built both of these hangars at the same time, so I wouldn't have to take so many trips back and forth between my storage and where I was building. And after about 8 hours of backbreaking labor, the hangars were complete. And they look just as good as the first. Let's see what it looks like from above. Oh, this looks so cool. Oh, this looks sick. And look at it on the map too. But we're not done yet. I still got to detail this big ass petri dish on the inside. So let's get started with that. The idea is here where these little caution lines are, I want to build pipes that are meant to be like pulling water from the ocean and then pumping it into the mechanism. And then I'll have little feet that are like supporting the thing and holding it up, I guess. And then where these little outlines are, I want to build like big pillars that are holding up the entire building. Because, you know, if you built a building like this in real life with no supports, it's just gonna fall on itself. Anyway, let's do these little pipes first. Make sure I knock out all the details properly. Okay, I think I like this. Obviously, I'll have a little wall connecting back here for it to actually pump into, but I'll basically just build up these on the other three sides. All right, that is all the pipes. Next, let's do these little support latches here, and then we'll fill out like the rest of the frame connecting up to the machine. Okay, all done with the center. Let me test the machine one more time to make sure I didn't break anything or mess up any redstone. Okay, light is working. All the dispensers have seemed to activate. You know, I just realized all the ghasts under here might get crushed to death. Whatever, price of business. Anyway, all that's left to build in here is, of course, the pillars to hold up the whole building. But before I build those, I want to add a couple things to touch up the building. First, I want to build the White Cliff Technologies logo on the front of the hydration device here. If you're new here, this is the company I created that's responsible for creating all the farms, machines, and other pieces of technology in the world. And they're contracted by Ultimate Manufacturing to build tech that they can use to construct facilities and factories like this one and the resin factory. So I gotta remember to build their logos on things that are supposed to have been created by them, like this, which, you know, I actually forgot to do on the resin factory too. So I made a quick detour over there and replaced the beacons in the ground with the Ultimate Manufacturing themed beacon pylons, and then I added another White Cliff logo to the inside of the factory just above the auto crafter machine. All right, there we go. Now the themes of these two places are a little more consistent with each other. Anyway, back at the facility here, I want to build like a happy ghast spawn egg pixel art on the front here, similar to the one I have at the normal ghast farm in the nether. So let's do that, and I'll also go ahead and just polish a lot of the details in the entrance a little bit more so it doesn't look too bare compared to the rest of the build. Okay, that looks good. Last thing I want to do before building the pillars in here is put a big happy ghast pixel art in the middle of the room here. Partially just to cover up this little line of redstone and these observers, but also because on the map, I'll be able to see it from above just like we have over here. There's three things I consider when I want to make something look good. How is it going to appear on the map? How is it going to appear when looking at it from a distance using distant horizons? And then how is it actually going to look normally? So these little pixel arts add a lot, I think. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, that looks good. Nice. See it on the map? Yeah, looks good. Okay, last thing, and then we can start this up. Let's build up these pillars. And with the pillars done, the facility is complete. Now it's time to blow up my PC. First things first, let's head back to base, grab my shulker box of dried ghasts, and then a ton of materials needed to craft harnesses. Grab some chests, and I'll put these here and fill them up with harnesses so I can just grab them and go whenever I need to move a ghast around. Okay, and now step 2, we load all these dried ghasts into every single one of these little pockets. This might take a second. All right, and now step 3, we activate the machine. Oh my god, this is gonna be a disaster. Currently, the game is running at 10 milliseconds per tick. That means it takes 10 milliseconds to calculate 1 tick in the game. The game runs at 20 ticks per second normally, which means if it takes up to 50 milliseconds per tick, then the game will start running slower than it's supposed to. So as long as we stay below the number 50, we should be fine. But we've got, what, 15 minutes before the first one of these guys starts popping up, so we just gotta wait around until then. Here's our first one. Oh, they're coming up. Oh, it begins. This isn't so bad. I thought it was gonna be like really fast and just like turn my game into a slideshow. I don't think this is gonna get any worse. I'm probably chilling. Ooh. Okay, we're at 11. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Lag's picking up a little bit, but I don't think it's a problem. I think we'll be fine. Hello. Oh, they're all kind of flying out on the sides. That's fine. They don't have to be contained in there. It's not a big deal. That number's still going up. Frames are getting dangerously low, too. It's starting to get a bit crowded as well. This isn't looking great. Here, I'll grab some harnesses for when they start growing up. I can start loading them into the docks here. I mean, is it gonna lag more when they're bigger? Is that how that works? My god, there's so many of them. Oh, they're starting to grow up. Oh god. I'm stuck. Oh, they're starting to grow. All right, let's start taking them to the hangars. All right, hopefully too many of them don't start crowding around. It's gonna take me a while to fill these out. Oh my god. Oh my god, there's so many of them. And they're getting stuck under here. I knew they were gonna get stuck. Oh my god. Just gotta get saddles on as many of them as I can. Oh my god, it's getting really crowded. Oh no. This is not good. Ah! Move! 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 Oh god, this is a disaster. Oh, the more that fly in this direction, the better. Okay, I got the first hangar fully loaded, and we have barely made a dent. Oh my god, this is a disaster still. But we got 2 more to fill. Okay, so I got all the docks loaded, and the amount of lag we're experiencing dropped like 10 points. So I think the majority of the lag is just coming from the fact that the ghasts are moving. Once they're locked in the docks and stationary, they don't seem to contribute much lag. So unfortunately, I think I have some bad news. I can't leave this place being this laggy. And until I build something up on the nether side to be able to store a larger amount of ghasts, I really have no place to put these guys. So, I think it has to be done. Sorry, guys. Who am I kidding? You all deserve it anyway. Alright, it's over. Unfortunate, but necessary. Lag's pretty much under control now. I did leave a good chunk of them out here, just because they're not really in the way when they're above here. So these guys can live. They're not making anything lag, so... Ooh, there's a bunch of guys under here, though. They must have clipped through the floor when they grew up. Yeah, you guys can't stay. Also, another problem is randomly, there's these random bits where the dispensers are not how they're supposed to be. Everything was on when I left. I think what happened is the way I'm doing this is there's a redstone torch underneath. So I think unloading and reloading the chunks reactivated some of the dispensers, but not other dispensers, which is why it's doing this. Let me see really quick if unloading it is causing this problem. Because if it is, there's no point in fixing it. At least not right now. Not until I run out of every single one of these ghasts, which is likely going to be a long time. So let's see. Okay, I want to make sure it's completely unloaded. Just because I can't see it doesn't mean there's no lazy chunk loading over here at the dam. All right, let's check. Wait, I can't tell. Is this more or less? What if I exit the game? Bro, I can't tell what caused the issue. Okay, so it has to be an unloading and reloading thing, which means fixing it is a big waste of time. And the only way to fix it is to rebuild the entire array, to not use torches and to instead take power directly from the repeaters, which is what I should have done in the beginning, but whatever. I'll fix that in 2029 when I run out of happy gas. But what I'll go ahead and fix now is I'll grab some fences and some leads, and I'll try to tie all these guys down on the roof here, just so they don't wander off over time. Okay, there we go. I'll also cut away this little piece of land here just because it's like barely anything. And then finally, on the underside of the building here, I'll cover like all this white space and these lights with just some deep slate to make it look a little bit nicer from a distance. Okay, that should do it for the bottom. With those final touches, the build is complete. We've got a lot of work to do here in the Nether though.